And so this talk will be a discussion, and it will be about design in the times of AI, but doesn't have to be just design. So we're hoping to talk about AI in general and our lives. So let's start with some introductions. Hi, I'm Masha. I've been at Red Hat for 10 years. I've worked on many, many things. You can see them all on the screen. And most importantly, I'm now part of the UXD team, which is doing UX. It's 130-something people doing all sorts of things, researchers, designers, engineers, etc.
So hi, I'm Maria. I'm also part of this UXD team with Masha. I've been with Red Hat for so long, 6 years now, working on Lightspeed, satellite, and also teaching at Masaryk University. I am trying to teach new developers some basics of UX design. So, but now you know who we are, but who you are.
1 second before we do that. Full disclosure, I've been warned we need to tell people now. AI will be used heavily through this presentation, just beware. Now.
So now, who are you? Okay, let it sink. This was a tricky question. I'm asking about your role or job title and, or however you...
Let's do a show of hands.
Yeah, so, any designers? Yes.
2, 3.
Okay.
Nice, okay. And a half, 3.5. Interesting.
Okay, any project managers?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any developers?
All right.
Unexpected.
I would not count that. Documentation.
And QEs.
Okay.
Anyone who we didn't mention, we are sorry for that. Do you want to disclose your role? Artists, now, wonderful. Who else is artist here as well?
Nice.
Maybe in the end we will discover all of you are.
Okay, anyone else left out? Yes? Yes? Security manager, very cool. Just community architect, very cool. Anyone else?
Product owner.
Very cool. Okay, so we have a good mix of people here. Amazing. Hopefully this will be a great discussion. Okay. So, AI, right? I mean, okay. Have you been to one talk at DevConf that has not mentioned AI? Probably not. So, I mean, AI can be seen as many things. It can be seen as like this evil overlords. There's a lot of fear-mongering on the internet, like AI will take all our jobs, it will kill everybody, it's evil, etc. Or other people see AI as, you know, nice and friendly, very cute and helpful.
Again, who are you? Do you fear AI? Who does? Hands up. 1, 2. Okay. Okay, just small amount of people. Do you want to share your deepest fear? With not in general, please, but regarding AI. It will take our jobs. Yes.
Well, I do not fear about the jobs, or my job, but I fear that the AI will make a decision, like, for example, if some account will be blocked or not. And because you are not able to do anything, you will be like a slave. Oh.
I just want to tell that it's already happening. I mean, if you ask for mortgage, they're going to put you through the system, and you can always ask the bank, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I know that some transaction was blocked by AML for me. And you can imagine that, for example, it will be raised like in the times of the police, where you are guilty or not, with some small things. And it can significantly raise up that your life will be automated by somebody else, but it's not based by the carbon, but based by the silicon.
Okay, so like Black Mirror type
Thank
of
you.
situation.
Yes,
Okay.
Black Mirror is happening right now.
I feel like we will be lazier and less creative, maybe.
Who thinks they are already lazier by using AI? Okay. Who does think they are actually more creative and more productive with AI? Okay, more people.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go.
Let's
Okay.
Like being lazy and being more creative and productive, that is not mutually exclusive.
correct.
Right. That's right.
Correct.
Okay. I thought we'll start with the things we know a little bit. So I naturally asked ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, can you tell me about AI and how it was represented in the movies through starting with the very first one on the left there, your right, my left. So that was Maria. She was a first AI in the movie, supposedly. ChatGPT thinks so. And then, I don't know, this is the lady from Ex Machina. She's evil. But then there's also friendly, a nice AI. Like, probably you know Wall-E. And then, who knows that guy on the top? Yeah. The stars from Interstellar. I love him. Okay, so going on, let's talk a little bit about your life. So here we, again, hoping for some discussion, like, has AI changed your life? Okay. Not yet. Would you like to share in what way? Okay, Maria, what's your hand?
So I have a lot of ideas for applications that I can build on top of infrastructure that we are building, for example, at work. But I'm a terrible front-end developer, and using tools like Lovable and other tools allows me to actually whip up front-end in minutes that then I can go and connect to the infrastructure and I can use it. And it's actually cool, good-looking, nicely working applications. And it would take me months to build something that would look like shit and be unusable from user experience perspective.
Very cool, very cool. Anyone else? Maria, Justin, right here.
So I do a lot of event management, and we had the Fedora Flock event in Prague last week, and I had all this different data, from attendance data to survey data, and what would normally take me at least a week just to process this all, analyze it, review it, I was able to give that to AI and create like a summary of all this different data. So then I could write a short email to all of our sponsors, but was all this key data, like, oh, how many attendees we had, how many sessions, and the type of like the diversity of the conference, where like coming to DevConf, I would never have imagined I'd have the time to do that. But I was able to do that on Monday, right after the conference. So it helped me a lot.
Would you share which tool did you use? You don't have to.
Gemini?
Okay. Okay, I think this is a nice segue, though, to work. Okay.
I use it to ask stupid questions.
Like what?
Like
Yes.
everything that I would normally not ask anybody and feel like, well, it's obvious, or something that I wanted to know, like just like from without having to go, for example, through a course, then prove that you have the knowledge necessary to go to another course to learn something. I can just ask the question right away and then figure it out backwards, like whatever is needed to understand the answer. So that's not normally what you can afford with people.
Sure. Some people even mentioned that they're asking medical questions to AI, you know.
Which questions?
Medical.
Medical.
Like about something they're feeling. So they ask ChatGPT first before going to a doctor.
Like I personally ask Gemini, not ChatGPT anymore. We are not allowed. Actually, those stupid questions, which are basic for developers, because I work in a very technical environment, and sometimes I'm not sure about like what some shortcuts are, or some technical concepts.
Terms.
So firstly, before bothering my devs, I ask ChatGPT. I still have like some amount of knowledge, so I know when it's lying or just...
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and it's really like...
Yes, so you can see it has changed our jobs for sure. We have this little meme for UX designers out there. Don't get me wrong, we still do sticky notes, but okay. So
it's like when you don't have many designers in your team, like, okay, we have like 130, but we are working on different projects, and you just need to review something or basically brainstorm some ideas. AI is a wonderful tool for that.
Yes. So here we have a question, has AI changed your work? But I think that's not a question like, show of hands if it hasn't changed your work at all. Okay, so this is not a question. Rather, a thing we could think about and maybe discuss a little bit is like, how could you or should you work with AI smartly? I did ask this question prior to this conversation to some of my team members. You see, I got 9 responses altogether. It wasn't a big group. But, you know, just to confirm my words, it has changed things. And here, I think there's a few aspects on how it has changed things. So first of all, it has changed the projects that we're working on. Now, everything is faster. It's fast, fast, fast. Projects are spinning up fast. You have to design, develop fast. People are asked to add AI, just like that. And then the audience has changed as UX designers work a lot with people, so with our users. And what we used to do would be working on some project that's been going on for some time. It has active users, or like at least people know what they're doing. But what happens right now, people are just figuring out AI, same as us. So when we ask the audience or the users, how do you use AI? And they're like, we're still figuring it out. So we kind of have to figure it out together. And I mean, it's a new field. Do you want to add something? No? Okay. So I guess this is a question for the audience. Like the projects you're working on, do you have anything specific you might be willing to share and how they changed? Did you add AI? Did you add a chatbot to your application? Have you been asked to figure out, Elham?
Thank you. I always use AI to enhance my documents because I have to write quite a lot of documents in Google Docs,
Right.
but I have no clue how the styling works. I always hated those documents, so I just write something, it looks messy as hell, and tell AI, hey, make it pretty, please.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Who else use it for documents, for writing better documents, making it more structured? Not that many people. Okay, and have you ever used Gemini, ChatGPT, or any other AI to actually read documents that someone wrote in AI?
Yeah.
And make it more legible? Yeah.
Yes.
So we are all using AI for AI.
Okay.
Wonderful progress.
One person over there wanted to share about the project, and that'd be Elham.
Okay,
So you go the
please
other way.
raise your hand. So.
Maya, the other way. Go to Elham.
So yeah, about the projects, I mean that at work it's just slowly going there. Yeah, we are designing for AI features, but as you know, because of data privacy, we are not allowed to use that much of the tools and ethical use of AI and those things around. So it's really limited, but for the personal projects, I would say it makes a huge change. And as mentioned, for example, I'm not a researcher, but right now I can run a research really confident, and I'm just like, yeah, the result is kind of acceptable, or about the ideas and just designing the features more creative. So yeah, for me personally, not at work that much, but for personal projects, definitely a lot.
Thank you.
So I'm using AI not just to generate new content if I'm writing new code or just start a new project and I want to generate brainstorming ideas, but also to give myself feedback, which no one else can give to me.
Give yourself feedback.
Yes, so I put some data like how like here's your role, little machine. Please tell me how well I did. I painted this picture. What do you think? What can be improved?
Nice. What does it say?
It's always supportive.
Good.
I like you.
Perfect.
You can still write better prompt if you don't want AI to be supportive, right? If you really want AI to find some problems in whatever document or art you are posting there.
Yes, you can ask it to be nasty to you, and it will be. Okay. Okay, so that was the projects we're working on. Now, the tools, obviously, especially for designers, there's so many AI add-ons. Image generation is the biggest thing, I would say, right? And then also content writing. There's new tools popping up all the time. We just had an AI in research workshop, and there's AI-specific tools for research now. And then the processes have changed naturally. I used to be a graphic designer, and then I would search for a perfect image for my project for like a day, and I will have to find a free version of that image because my bosses were cheap. It was not Red Hat. And I would spend a whole day, my eyes would be spinning, in my head. Now I can press a button, it will be there in like a minute. So I don't know, what about you?
I mean, it doesn't make sense right now to list all the add-ons on all the tools because, as Masha said, there are always new ones coming. So
every day.
Yeah, every day. But we should definitely experiment with some of those to find out like what's the trend for these tools.
Okay. And then, of course, it helps in all the fields of design work. Not talking about developer work for right now. So in graphic design, you can generate stuff. I would not recommend creating logos from start to finish, but it's good for like idea generation. In illustration, same thing. You can ask a tool to create an image in a specific style, and it will do that. For web design, it can generate designs, right? So you can refine them later, but still. For prototype creation, if you're thinking, I have an idea, and then you don't want to spend a whole day just drawing it as a designer or like prototyping it as a developer, you can just spin something up very quickly, validate it with your stakeholders, and then decide you want to design it or not. And then, like I said, for research, maybe something else that comes to your mind, not necessarily design work, but just in general, what can you use it for? What do you use it for? Ideation, yeah. Talking to the government, in what way? Yes. Write a polite request to the government that doesn't speak English. That's a good one, yes. For consistency checks.
Yeah, consistency checks with guidelines. Also, what I really recommend to do all you for your projects, like personal projects, or also in your companies, do a heuristic review of your project. It's a usability review. It's like super easy to do. It's just 10 principles, like how your system should, or your app should respond to users' needs, to user in general. For example, if you click on a button, system should somehow tell you, okay, you clicked on this button, and there should be a response such as, yes, you saved this, or yes, you deleted this. And this will really improve usability of whatever project you are working on. So please do that.
That's a very good point, and same for research. I mean, we talked about it last year, and some people reminded me that research is very important. You need to talk to your users. We need to remind ourselves to do that all the time. As developers, as designers, it doesn't matter if you don't have any users or you don't have access to users. Ask AI to be a user is better than nothing. It can do this synthetic research.
Yeah, as Masha said, it's a synthetic research, better than nothing. Not recommended in general,
yes.
Because as you know, like depends how much research you have, like beforehand, how much you know about your user. If it's just like random system admin or like developer or whoever, basically. So at least chat with ChatGPT, create your prompt correctly, make them feel like they are really that user with some specific needs. and check if your projects will stand.
Okay, just sort of going on in the same vein, how it changed the ways we work. So we talked about tooling, we talked about some of the things it can do. There's been this survey of designers of 400 something designers who, and specifically some that work on AI tools like Perplexity, Claude, I think, something else. Like, what do they use it for? So you can see almost 80% do writing content UI copy, and 54% do image and video editing and generation, and then there's some other things that they do in the creation phase, so when they're creating something. And here I thought we maybe could focus a little bit on the pros and cons of using AI. So first and foremost I think it's speed. So like I said, it used to take weeks to do something. Now you can do it like in a day or less. Then you can generate images in different styles. Maybe want to come up with something else from the audience. What are the pros of using AI apart from speed? Nothing.
Maybe specific to your use cases, to your projects.
I mean, the AI is really great at generating new stuff, like
Yeah.
pictures, cat pictures and such. But it's a great topic for the art community, where people want to draw original or paint original images, and they are just really scared that they will run out of business, because if you can generate whatever picture you really want in really high definition, just print it somewhere, you don't have to buy an original painting from someone. The same goes for people who are using AI-generated images as their input for their artwork. I mean, if you do that, for example, you generate a picture, it's still traceable that it was generated by a machine. So is it original? Who owns the copyright?
Yes.
Who owns the picture, really?
Yes, so this is the whole ethical concern of it.
It's more ethical, yes.
Yes, and then there's a big question like, what is art?
And one funny thing, for example, you can imagine that you have to do a code review for your colleague.
Okay.
And if it's something bad, the people accepting more from AI than from the other people. Exactly, because this is a machine. On the other hand, what my experience is, if you are asking for something, you have to be very precise, because in other case, and my typical test is, please describe the summary of the numbers, is mostly very infantile answer. And you have to stop and ask again.
Okay, yeah. I think
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yes. One more thing that gets noticed every time is the unpredictability of results, right? You ask it the same thing and it gives you a different answer every time.
Also, like on the ethical side, I think like harm reduction is something I'm thinking about a lot, because in various communities, there's been a lot of attacks and spam attacks with very abusive visual content that's been shared in community channels. And one thing that I've been thinking about is like this technology also makes it much easier potentially to generate this type of harmful content. And so in the perspective as a content moderator, mitigating against harmful content, I definitely am thinking about how are these models thinking about, like, what are their boundaries for things that would be inappropriate or abusive? Right. And I don't see a lot of conversations about that. So that's one of my big thoughts right now.
Okay.
But in many cases, you can overcome boundaries when you are asking, like, in a better way, not like right away, like, tell me some illegal stuff.
Yeah, I think currently AI is dangerous in terms of deepfake, because I made some research myself, and so many people were attracted to some investments, but they were false, and they invested their money and never gave them back. So yeah. Also regarding the elections, I think this will have its place. Like deepfake will grow up.
Will you explain more? How?
I'm sorry?
Would you explain a little bit more how it will affect the elections?
For example, the elections in the US, when it was Trump against Hillary, they used deepfake to manipulate, I can remember the artist, but she was there were like naked images of her
Oh, okay.
publishing on the X platform, on the Telegram, and millions of people saw it, and it like damaged her reputation, and she was great supporter of specific site. So
I see.
this was
Yeah.
Cons, energy usage. Like if you think about as a UX designer, how much calories you burn while make that picture by yourself, and how much calories, if you calculate the electricity in calories for the AI model to do it, which one wins?
Yeah.
Environmental issues, definitely.
Yes, I have another point. I mean, AI, the question is how AI is really harmful, and I would say not really much, because AI is just a tool. It's an acceleration aspect. It's another attribute in what we are doing, and it just really depends on us or how we are going to use that tool.
Okay.
Yeah, like if we were a better people, of course we would use it just for good of humanity, but...
And we are, obviously.
Unfortunately, AI right now is just trained based on the data that carries the biases. And so then the outcome is carrying more biases, that it just extended it. It can be in the design, it can be in the research. So one of the ethical points is just that we need to be understanding these biases and also accessibility issues that right now most of the designs are carrying. And probably in what AI generates, we will face them as well. So it's always needed to be one step ahead of AI in these cases.
Right. Okay, thank you. Okay.
One comment about lies or deep fakes or whatever is that in case that everybody lies, nobody can recognize anyone who can sell a true. On the other case, in case of the privacy data, in case that your naked photo will leak or some artificial photo will be created, nobody can distinguish between them.
That's true.
Is that a pros or con?
It depends. No, from my point of view, the privacy, as we are, let's say, seeing now, probably will be end quite soon, and nobody will take care if some, let's say, photo will show, because you every time can say, hey, this is a fake.
Right.
Okay, the last one.
I'm actually surprised that no one mentioned it, but for me the biggest pro is that it automates all the boring tasks. Like if something is boring, the first thing I wanna do with it is automate it. And that's what AI helps me do.
What is boring for you?
A lot of things. Non-creative ones, the ones that are like repetitive, I'd say.
Repetitive tasks, yes.
For example, if I have to go through code review, really in depth because it contains a lot of text, I won't do that. I always like try to use a spell checker or AI that knows the context of it. Or as I mentioned, styling of the documents because I have no clue.
Thank you. Do you ever check what AI actually answered? For example, like when you review documents, when you do code review, do you do at least some random check if it matches or not? Who does it? Who does it? Hands up. Okay. Who does it sometimes, at least? Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys, we have 5 minutes. Yes.
So modern versions of ChatGPTs and Gemini as well, we're using agents so we can provide you a list of sources. And if not, you can ask, hey, please, can you provide me sources that you used? And that's the verification part. So you can click on the sources, especially if you work with some laws and government rules, then you can check it really quick.
Also, many times you really need to click on those sources because some doesn't work. some don't work, some maybe there will be no mention of it, even though those links work.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about design thinking right now, while we still have time. So are people here familiar with design thinking, more or less, the design thinking process? No? Okay. So design thinking is a way to just come up with solutions to complex problems, or not necessarily complex. Maybe you want to decide what you want for lunch. And it has these 5 distinct steps. First, you emphasize with the user. So you talk to the user, or maybe you are the user. Then you define the problem, what it is that you're solving. It's important to know. And then comes the third bit, which is called ideating, and which I think AI is best at, like in my personal opinion. Because ideating means generating as many ideas as you can, as fast as you can. No critical thinking at this point. Just go, 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 go. Generate a bunch of them. So like we said, I think generation of ideas is the best, and now it can happen like in seconds. You don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to search the internet for like half a day. It'll just be there.
Also, this phase should come after you already know the problem, after you have already defined what you are solving, trying to solve.
Yes, and so that's greatly proven by the same survey that I've mentioned earlier with the 400 designers. Like, it enhances ideation is the first one, because sometimes as an artist, as a designer, you're left there with a blank screen. You're like, where do I start, you know? So you can use AI to quickly get started on things. And by the way, number 2, cuts repeated tasks. That's the one we mentioned as well. Okay. Yes.
Is it happen that the AI give you some really original idea, some completely the new one, something like the Norton Commander before it was invited?
No, I don't think so, because it doesn't come up with new stuff, right? It just...
What it does, it combines stuff that maybe it would take us some time to actually come up with, but we would come up with basically like 80%, but it would take more time than just like few seconds, or if you are changing the prompt, a few minutes.
Yes.
Original for whom? I mean, it spits out lots of things that I haven't heard before. So it's original for me.
Okay, yeah. So one thing I want to mention before we have to wrap up is that AI doesn't have one thing that most of you have, or maybe all of you have, and that's taste. It has no way to tell a good idea from a bad idea. It generates a bunch of stuff. Some of it is bad, some of it is okay, but the truly great ideas can be identified only by you. So that's something that you learn as a designer, as a developer, as a writer, as
an artist.
As an artist. That's something that you gather through the years. You look at good designs, bad designs, you know, around you. You learn what's good and what's bad. You know what you specifically need for this type of project, and that's something that AI cannot do.
As we said, AI is a tool for us. We should learn how to use it, but there should be always a person in the middle who will check the results, who will change the prompt, who will work with the results of what AI actually gave it to you.
Right. Maybe one last question. Do you feel like ChatGPT and Gemini have different personalities? Okay.
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 Is it that? Do we want to still? Do we have time? Out of time.
We're out of
so
time. Okay.
During at the social event, we can talk more about who do you think Gemini is and who do you think ChatGPT is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.